Hello and welcome back to another episode of Digital Road Trip. My name is Wizzy Zero, you can also call me Wizzy, and today we are continuing on our journey to we just came from New York City. We're continuing our way to Washington, D.C. to the White House. Now, in the last episode, we finished off looking at this nice little fountain here towards this I don't know if this is an industrial. Well, actually, it's probably not an industrial park because you're getting Panera Bread over there. So probably like a hotel. Yeah, that is a hotel right there. So a little kind of shopping area over this way, I guess. Currently in North Brunswick Township, New Jersey. So that is where we currently left off at. Currently right on US Route 1 and 9, I believe. I don't think 9 is split off yet, so currently heading south towards, I believe right now we're kind of heading towards Trenton, New Jersey, to kind of go into towards Philadelphia that way, work our way into Washington, D.C. Now, welcome to those of you who haven't watched any of these videos before. If you have, I will, this is part of a playlist. So, I don't think I typically put the playlist in the description, but I probably should. So after you get done watching this or whatever, either that you can head over to my YouTube channel page, and all my playlists are listed right there. But I will have it in the description as well, a link to the playlist, if you wish to do so. And, like I said, if you are new to this video series, basically, the objective of this series, I know it's been a while since I've mentioned this, but the objective of this series is to basically start in one location and try and work our way to a destination, which in this case is, like I mentioned, the White House in Washington, D.C. So we're starting, or in this leg, I would call it, from New York City to Washington, D.C. So obviously we didn't start in New York City this episode. I did that a few episodes ago. But one rule I do have about this is I cannot use any interstates. So like I can't go on like Interstate 95 and work our way to Washington, D.C. through Interstate 95. Because typically the interstates, they're pretty secluded. There's usually not much to see on them. I mean, there are some states where there's quite a bit to see, especially if you're in more towards the city. But generally, there's usually not much to see on interstates. So, in this way, too, it kind of gives us more roads that have stuff on them, I suppose. I know sometimes U.S. routes can also be highway-like, but as long as they're not part of interstates, it is still allowed, although I will generally try to, if they are highway-like, especially if there's nothing on them. Like that happened a few episodes back when we were heading towards New York City. We got on US 5, and it was highway-like, and there was just nothing there, so we end up getting off one of the exits and working our way ultimately to US Route 1 to get towards New York City. Just because there's usually more to see on these types of roads rather than, like I said, the interstates. Another rule I have as well is I cannot use, although I have done the last couple episodes, not really for the entire episode though, just for bits because we end up getting stuck. Those are basically the only exceptions I'll do to this rule. But the rule is that I cannot use the map to basically designate a route that I'm going to take to get to that destination. So like this episode, you didn't see me bring up the map at all to figure out which way we're going to go to get to Washington, D.C. We're just going to basically take the road and see where the road takes us, essentially. And if we get stuck or if we get ourselves into a corner, then I may end up using the map to help navigate our way out of that section, essentially. I have had to do that a couple times, like I mentioned. But for the most part, I'm going to try to avoid having to do that. And ultimately avoid having to use any interstates. And so far, we haven't had to use any interstates yet. There's one spot coming out of Manhattan where we weren't sure if it was considered an interstate or not. It was a bit conflicting, but I think in the end it ended up not being an interstate, so. But anyways, basically those are the ultimate rules. Like, I can take a look at this mini-map here just to see where we are, but I can't use it to, like I said, navigate around. So basically those are the only two rules I have for this series. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Just follow the road, see where it takes us, try and get to our destination. Sometimes we may end up like navigating off US Route 1, for instance. Go like a state route or something like that. Typically, I will use state routes or US routes. Just because those usually get you places that are not usually dead ends. Because if you go into like a back road, it could dead end. Although usually if you're in a rural area, back roads usually don't end much. Or dead end much, but if you're more in like a city, you go into the side streets. It could get into like a maze and could take forever to try and get out. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. But anyways, I think I've mentioned about the series long enough. Obviously, we've been making quite a bit of progress while I've been mentioning about that. We are currently in Princeton now. So, well, like I said, welcome to those of you, if this is your first time watching this, or if you've watched these videos before, welcome back. Glad to have you. Hopefully you stick around. And who knows, maybe you'll see something else on my channel that you might like, one of my other series that you might like, such as the GeoGuessr videos, although I didn't have a GeoGuessr video this week. Of course, GeoGuessr is very similar to this in a way, because we're going down the roads to try and figure out where we are, instead of just trying to get to some place. And then of course I have Minecraft Mondays now. Although this coming Monday I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. And then I also have a series called Friday Night Gaming, where basically right now I am just playing. Well, in that series, ultimately, I play a game until I complete it. So I play an entire game, or game the entire way through. And once I complete it, I'll start a new game, play that the entire way through. And the current game I am playing on that series is Midnight Club 3 Dev Edition Remix for the PlayStation 2. Of course, those are all have their own playlists as well. I'm not going to list those in the description, but I thought I'd mention about those videos as well. Minecraft's usually on Monday, of course, since it's called Minecraft Monday. Wednesdays is usually when I will do GeoGuessr. This is typically on Thursday. And, of course, Friday Night Gaming. All the videos usually uploaded around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Except for Friday Night Gaming, that is 6 o'clock Eastern Time. 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Although I may delay videos or cancel videos, like I said, I didn't have a GeoGuessr video this week. And normally you can find that out if I'm going to be delaying or canceling a video by checking out the discussion tab on my YouTube channel page. Typically I mention that on the GeoGuessr video, or the GeoGuessr videos, but I should mention them a bit more on these videos, especially, or as well. That little lighthouse thing? No, it's just a sign. Got a little mall area up in there, it looks like. Your highway taxes at work. And that way, you're still in Princeton, New Jersey. Clean uniforms. It's always nice to have. I wonder how far we are from, well actually I should know because I went down to New Jersey a couple weeks ago that were not wicked far from where I went. It was Cherry Hill, New Jersey that I went to, which is just basically across the river from Philadelphia. I went there for a bowling tournament, a Northeast Regional Air National Guard tournament, because my mother is actually retired from the Air National Guard. So we usually do that every Columbus Day weekend or Indigenous Peoples Day weekend, depending on where you live. I know Maine, I guess this was like the first year where it was called Indigenous Peoples Day. Although me personally, I still consider it Columbus Day, but because that's what I've always known it as. But anyways, Spirit Halloween looked like that was an old Toys R Us, kind of a smaller Toys R Us actually, kind of a standalone building there. Of course, Spirit Halloween. It's October again. No, we don't want to go on 285 was that or 295? We don't. Well, either way, we don't want to hop on the interstate. It was 295. We want to stay on 1 south towards Trenton, Morrisville. This is one of those songs that kind of start out quiet. I usually try to avoid this song when I start out the videos because it's like nothing on them. Delaware and Raritan Canal State Park. That's right, Delaware is not very far from New Jersey, the southern part of New Jersey, is it? Because it's kind of, well actually Delaware, I'm trying to think. Isn't it kind of on the other side of DC? I can't remember, I'm kind of blanking because I think, I don't know. But Maryland, Virginia, maybe it's Maryland I'm thinking of, that's, yeah. So, we're gonna stay on 1 south, we don't want to go on the business section. I mean, we could, I suppose. But I think it'd just be easier to stay on normal Route 1. I feel like the roads are better this way too. Not like it really matters much. So, I mean, we're on a digital road trip, so we're not feeling how rough the roads are or anything like that. Now, one place I did go to as well when I was in New Jersey was I went to Atlantic City. Went to the Tropicana, which is one of the casinos in Atlantic City. And I thought it was kind of interesting because all the casinos I've been to, normally when you get into the gaming area, or before you even get in the gaming area, there's usually like a security booth that you have to go past to get inside. But I noticed in the Tropicana, there wasn't any security booth or anything. You could just walk right in, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then also, it was kind of cool because when you first walked in from the parking garage area, it was more like a mall. So you kind of like it was decorated like it was a kind of if it was like an outdoor square sort of thing. Is it like a canal sort of thing? But yeah, it was kind of like it decorated like it's like an outdoor square. So you had like the cobblestone kind of like streets almost, like a fountain in the middle, and the ceiling was painted as the sky and like lit up kind of like as this, like if it was like sunset almost. Maybe like a little bit darker than like what this is here, but it was actually really cool aesthetically. I am a little worried about this. I don't know. Okay, I don't see any highway sign on there, so I guess we're safe in that regard. Yeah, no, this is still just US 1. I didn't know if it was combining with an interstate or not. Yeah, it doesn't look like it, so that's good. But yeah, anyways, they had like shops, they had restaurants, they had an IMAX theater. And also in one section of the mall, or I call it a mall, but in one section of that area, they did have slot games in that area as well, which I thought was kind of odd. So it's like a mall area, restaurants and everything, and you have like children going through here. I mean, what's gonna keep the kids from essentially playing these games? I mean, I thought basically every state had an age limit on gambling. Apparently New Jersey, they're not too worried about that. Start them young, I guess. No, I'm just joking. That's terrible of me to say. Yeah. Oh dear. I really shouldn't joke about that sort of thing. I mean, gambling is really addictive. Well, it can be addictive. Scratch offs. So I wonder, because we saw that sign before, and so that must be like an old railroad bridge that they converted into like a walking path. Because when we saw the bridge before, it looked like it was just a walking path. Morrisville, Philadelphia. Okay, so we're actually in Trenton, New Jersey right now. Okay. It's an interesting building. Probably some offices, I assume. You know what would be cool to do with it someday? Is to basically take the, like, Interstate 95 all the way down to Florida without getting off onto a different highways. Just stay right on 95 all the way to Florida. And then, of course, 95 stops down or ends in Miami, I believe. But then kind of continue on to Key West and turn around there and take US Route 1 all the way back up. I think that would be kind of interesting. Or either that, do the opposite, take Route 1 all the way down, and then come back up with Interstate 95. Oops. I don't want to keep switching. Are we actually crossing into Philadelphia now? Or Pennsylvania, rather? I feel like we are, but it's showing Morrisville, New Jersey now. Oh, I get a toll. I want to get an easy pass line, please. Apparently we're paying cash. You would think that the Google streetcar would have Easy Pass. I mean, that's kind of I find that kind of interesting. Yeah, we are in Pennsylvania now. I find that kind of interesting that I mean, who's not to say it doesn't have Easy Pass, but if it had Easy Pass, I would have thought it would have stayed to the left. But especially with all the driving that that vehicle has to do to get these images, I would think, like I said, that it would have Easy Pass, but who knows? Yeah, one thing I do like about Easy Pass, especially here in New England, Maine is getting them now, or actually replacing all of the tolls with these types of tolls. First ever toll I saw of this type was in New Hampshire, and basically what it is it splits. So you have a center section just for Easy Pass, so you don't have to slow down. You can keep going the highway speed through that middle section, and basically people, I mean, you could get into the cash lanes with the Easy Pass, but I mean, why would you, especially if you don't have to slow down through that other section? I mean, so, and Maine is now, I mean, we have, I want to say 4 or 3, I'm trying to think, because there's one in southern Maine, and then 2 on the Turnpike. I was thinking there was an additional one, but maybe not. Well, anyways, we got some already, and then the remaining ones on 295. Well, actually, one of them they just replaced. One in southern Maine they're currently replacing. And then one in Gardner on 295 at the north end near Augusta. They are currently replacing as well, which will be the last 2, because there's not many tolls in Maine, and I mean, those are really the only tolls I know of in Maine are just on the interstate. But yeah, they're replacing all of, that will be the last 2 that will be converted to that type, so you can just drive right through without having to slow down. Although the one in New Hampshire has 2 lanes, so like this, that you go through, although the other ones on the main turnpike are just 1 lane. Although there's usually not as much traffic that way either, because most people, when they come up, they'll come up Interstate 295, because it's a little bit shorter. Although with the speeds and everything like that, you need to stop switching sides, please. But the speeds reduced a bit now on 295. Time-wise, it's actually not much of a difference if you stay on 95 or take 295. So usually when I go down, I will take or stay right on 95 instead of taking Interstate 295. But of course, once you get past Augusta, or just, well, even just south, because those are the last tolls in Gardner there. North of that, there are no more tolls, so up in the Bangor area here, we don't have to worry about any of those. Which is nice. I mean, you don't have to pay to take the interstate, but I don't know, there's something about tolls. I don't know. Maybe that's, I'm sure that's just me. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people wish that you didn't have to deal with tolls, especially if you have to do it every single day, because that does get expensive. I mean, Maine, New England's usually not very expensive, and Massachusetts, you don't have to worry about toll booths at all because there are none. It's all electronic, so. But New Hampshire, where the toll plaza is, if you were to get off the exit, because it's right at exit 2 in New Hampshire, and if you get off the exit, it's like 75 cents for the toll or something like that. It's not very expensive at all. And I think the most expensive one in Maine is like $3 cash. And that's it. I mean, they're usually cheaper than that, so. Tolls in New England aren't very expensive, although I know you get to like New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. They're pretty high. Like I know George Washington Bridge, it's like $10 or something like that. Well, I think that's cash price, but still. Currently at 25 minutes. I know this has been a lot highway-like, hasn't it? So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna get off this exit because it looks like there's a road down here that kind of parallels Route 1. So we're gonna get off there. And then kind of go along that road because there's really not much right on Route 1 right here. We want to see things on this. So we're gonna kind of keep going this way, I guess. If it will let us continue on. Come on. Thank you. Okay. Oxford Valley Mall? Is that what that was? See an ice cream cone up there, it kind of looks like. Margaritas? Oh no, it's not an ice cream cone, it's a big duck. Huh. "27 minutes. We're currently in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Maybe we should have taken, I mean, we got the business Route 1 right here, so maybe we should have gotten off when it split that one time and just stayed on business Route 1, but it's okay, we're on business Route 1 now, so. Road definitely isn't as good, but like I said, not like that really matters a whole lot. Now, one thing I really should start looking for is a place to finish the video off. Find a nice scenic area. I mean, we could almost use that, but I don't know if it's wicked scenic. So what's happening up here? Pennsylvania 213 South. We don't want to go on the 213 South. Maybe we want to stay on the business one, so we're going to go off this direction. Langhorne Diner Speedway. Huh. Citizens Bank. Getting in the car dealership section now, it looks like. It's funny that there's all the car dealerships are usually like grouped together. You have like just one section of town that's just designated for all the car dealerships. Kind of find it hilarious. Restaurant Depot, did that say? Yeah. Maybe a place where you can get stuff for restaurants? I guess? I don't know. I mean, I would assume. Okay, well, let's not go into the parking lot. Thank you. Caught up with Interstate 95. Can you get back on the road, please? Thank you. Stand here, not keep cutting across back and forth between parking lots, because that would be absolutely fantastic. So there's Interstate 95. It's heading towards Philadelphia. Of course, we're still heading towards Philadelphia this way too, but kind of. I mean, we're heading more west than we are south, but I mean, I would think that once Business 1 ends, we'll get back onto regular Route 1. Well, actually, it would connect back to Route 1. And then we would start kind of heading back towards Philadelphia by then. Because I'm pretty sure US 1 goes towards Philadelphia. And I'm trying to find a good place to end the video, but there's really nothing. So we're gonna keep going. Currently at 31 minutes right now. Looks like we're kind of getting more into the sketchier part of town, but who am I to judge? I mean, this could be a fantastic part of town. I kind of just get that vibe that this section of town's not the best. I don't know, there's something about it. Bowling! Oh, excuse me. Now, it was kind of funny, because when I went down into Cherry Hill, I actually went by the bowling alley and didn't even notice it. And right on top of this, on top of the building, is this big lighted sign that says bowling. And apparently I missed it. So after I went back towards Newark Airport to pick my mother up, we went back that way, and she pointed it out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. It's like I noticed everything else except for the bowling alley. So I might have mentioned this in the previous video, but we kind of used that as like a running gag almost the entire weekend. It's like I noticed everything else except for the bowling alley, but it was kind of funny. It's like you get this great big bowling alley. It has like I don't quite remember how many lanes it had. I think it was like 62 lanes or something like that. Great big bowling alley, 62 lanes, right on the roof. Has this lighted sign that says bowling on it, and I don't even see it. I mean, Old Lincoln Highway. Looks like we're combining with one again. So I guess I probably could have just stayed on Route 1. You know, that's a good spot I suppose we can use to stop. I guess. I mean, what about this side here? Other than that, I mean, does that box have googly eyes on it? Oh no, I thought it's a stovetop. I thought it had googly eyes on it. You know, I think the stream is where we're gonna end. I don't think we can get to the other side. So I'm gonna kind of stop, look over towards this direction. I might have to zoom in a little bit. I think, oh, let's move it a little bit more. No. Yeah, I think that's good right there. So this is, of course, where we're going to be leaving off. We made it to Feasterville-Trevose, Pennsylvania. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce those. It's probably like Feasterville-Trevose, but anyways, we made it to that town. And yeah, like I said, that's just about gonna do it for this episode, though. So obviously we still got a bit more work to get to Washington D.C., but I didn't expect us to get to there this episode. Yeah, once again, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up. And like I said, I will have the playlist for this series down in the description below. And, yeah. Have a good one. See you in the next video. Bye!